looks very similar. And just before I hit
Let's
start,
pause this session, if that's okay, just before you get into the details.
Yeah.
Starting.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, don't worry. Okay.
okay, sure. So you've got here the status of the items. We hold two items, financial accounts and technical accounts. Technical accounts are the submission, financial accounts are the settlement request. So we'll hit that off. Should now be running. So you can, it gets a little blurry to start with, but it sorts itself out. You've got sort filtering there. Go off, I'm going to do a wildcard search now. I'm going to put in PSW. These are items that are attributed to that for different fields. You can say, show me the technical accounts and just show me the ones that are pending. So a pending item is something that requires some attention. Over here, you've got notifications. So we've got one waiting there. So we'll go off and create one now. So you've got the 6 tabs there. So first thing you've got to do is give it a unique reference. And you're saying what it is. So I'm going to say premium. Got some optional fields there about grouping items, and this is a mandatory field. We say what you're doing. So I'm just saying instigate premium submission. The recording software makes it a bit laggy, so I can type faster than this, but it's just not showing it that way. Save draft you've got on each tab. So if it turns out you haven't got enough information, you're essentially saving that as an incomplete item that you can refer to later. Contract details tabs, probably the heaviest one in terms of data capture, but you're putting in a contract reference there from the broker side and a section reference, and then you're doing a similar thing for the carrier side. Scroll down, you've got to give it a name, so we're going to use my surname for this one. You've got to say what the contract type is, so whether it's reinsured or direct. Then you're into cover type. A little bit of a drag there for you so you can see what there is. If you know what you want to type, you can do that and restrict it down. Then we're into the period of the contract and the expiry of that, so I'm using my fictitious policy dates there. So started then, it's going to expire on the 20th. Year of account, I'm going to put in as 2023. Then class of business, so I think do accident and health. I'm ignoring the other fields, so we've gone to the next tab, which is going to be retrieving the policyholder details. So there's one in my name that was set up earlier, which I'm going to retrieve. You'll see that there. You'll notice over on the right-hand side that if there's not one in there, you can create one very quickly and easily. We do a similar thing now for the carrier, though you can't create those on the fly. They've got to be set up and in there. So now we've done some contract information, some basic details about the policy and who we're going to be paying. We can start going into details of the money. So we've got the original currency there as sterling. We can change the settlement currency if we want to, but we're going to leave it in sterling. 15,000 is the amount. I'm going to hit pause now because I want to make an important point. We've got different types of technical account. We're going to do the default one, which is the route I was talking through at the start, but we've got these other ones. So in cash, that means that once that's been authorized as a technical account, there's no need to do a financial account. That will go to settlement. If you do settled direct, once that's authorized, that's the end of the process and it will be marked as settled, and that represents money's been transferred out of the system. Just go back to the video, start it running again. I'm going to create a tax amount. Again, it's not mandatory, but I wanted to put it in there. So I've said the tax amount is £1,800. Start providing some more detail about that. So then I had to do some maths. It was 15,000 originally, wasn't it? So that's my 15,000. I'm going to pretend it's UK IPT, so 12% rate. So we're saying it's on the gross premium, premium tax, and then we go off and say it's actually IPT. Make sure you put a country, and we're not going to scroll through that because we'd have to go through the whole world. So there you go, that's that done. Just add that over there. And there's a similar thing for premium, which I don't show, but you can start showing how the premium's been made up, like acquisition costs and things like that. This is using the document store now, so I'm going to put some supporting documentation for this one, upload that, give that a title or a description, I should say. So, a long list there. So, premium correspondence. And away that goes. Submit. And that says that's gone off for sanction screening. If it turned out I'd done something wrong, I've got the option to reverse it, which is that button there. And now we're a carrier already. Right, so we're going to go off and look for a TA. We're going to authorize that. So we're interested in pending ones. Agreed ones have already been authorized. So we'll have that one. Retrieve the details. Many of the fields will look familiar to you because you've just seen them. So we've got the option to agree it, scroll down, saying what it is, status there, who the policyholder is. We've got the option there to create a query. Hit that button. What the contract is. Here's one of those soft validations. It's suggesting the balance isn't right, so we might want to look at that. Just scrolling through, you can see the tax amounts and supporting documentation. In the interest of time, we didn't hit query, so we're going to agree it. So that's that one done. So now we're going back to being the broker. So that's where we left off. So back to being a broker, and this time we're going to create a financial account, which is a little lighter touch in detail in terms of what you've got to put in there. So again, you need a unique reference, creation date's defaulted. Wants you to put in the financial account as of the date. So I used the same date. This was eyes down when I was recording it. You can see what goes wrong in a second. We do correct it. Sure you spotted it. So what type is it? So it's a remittance advice. And I go off to do next and realize that I missed the currency. So we'll put that in. And again, we don't want to be scrolling through, so we put pound sterling. That's our header details essentially. Now we're going to say who we want to be paying. So we've got to nominate the carrier. Broker would have many. And in what capacity they're acting. Say reinsurer there. Then this is going to give us all the TAs that have been authorized for this carrier that have not yet made it to NFA. And you can pick one or many. I'm just picking one. For each one, you've got to give it a booking reference. Okay, so back as the carrier, back to the home page. There's a pending financial account. Again, it's showing us the currency. There's the item. So you'll tick what you want. This is one or many, and then you can start accepting or rejecting them. Agree or reject. Okay, and that says it's off to sanction screening. Just pause it there. So that's the screen flow. On the basis that it passes sanction screening, it would then go off and do the actual settlement. And as Anne was describing earlier on, put the different types of accounts. So if it was a funded account, it would draw down from it and send it straight away. If it's non-funded, then there'd be a notification and the broker would be putting funds in so that they could actually pay the money, which wouldn't come as a surprise to them as they've just instigated the process. That's the video. Any questions?
Questions on that?
I'll stop sharing my screen so that I can.
I've definitely got some sort of more detailed questions that I could save for another day. But Paul, I wonder just generally, what's the benefit slide that Anne showed earlier? What's in it for the broker? Why would they do this? Because it seems like most initiatives, it's all going to be dependent on whether the broker adopts it or not. So what are the benefits that will tempt them into using this and presumably integrating it to save having to type all that data in? How do you see that?
Integrating it is undoubtedly smoother and less laborious. What's in it for them? Consistency of approach. If you know, a singular way of doing things. The
Yeah, I think
information
if
we
they're
can pull out.
connecting, yeah, if they're connecting to a number of different carriers who've got different degrees of digital capability, then, you know, you've got one common platform, one common approach, MI coming out of it, tracking it through the process. You've also got, I think for them, you know, rather than resorting to emails to deal with queries, you've got instant messaging. We haven't shown you that on the video, but it's very much, as I say, like WhatsApp. So it's literally real-time messaging rather than, you know, waiting for an email response, that sort of thing. So there's a number of factors there. I don't know, Alvaro, if there's anything you wanted to add from a broker perspective that you've seen as feedback.
Yeah, so definitely from a broker's perspective, this is, so let me first start with for whom this is not a good option. So for example, if you are Swiss Re and you are connecting, so if Team is connected to WTW already in eBots, this platform is not great for you because you're already connected peer-to-peer, you already have a direct route into each other. However, if Swiss Re is connected to 10 brokers and WTW has this eBot route, but the other 9 brokers are sending emails. So now Swiss Re has to have 2 operational models, one for WTW and then one for the other 9. What this platform allows you for both sides is to have that single operating model. So it doesn't matter what the other side is using, you are only using one operating model. You're answering queries one way, either via portal. I know that's what we show, but we want everybody to not use the portal. In fact, the portals are not our main selling point, is actually the digital connection. We see that as our main selling point. The other 2 small bits, I would say, is settlements. So being able to settle fast, maybe not for a premium, but definitely for a claim, is something that is quite beneficial, especially on the other side, so from carrier to broker. And then having a single point of audit. So now you can have everything in one place. So it's, if you think about it, it's a very light bureau for non-bureau claim premiums and claims.
How does that feed in with transition services?
So these, what you saw there, is the same applications. We're just adding functionality for the London market. So when we get to the London market, the transition portals that you will use for your claims and premiums for the London market will be the same application. That will just be more complex and more tailored to Lloyd's, ILU, and Derm, correct? But it's the same application. So the reason why we released this is not only to de-risk the further release, but also to show, hey, we did something and we are going there in an agile and iterative manner. So what you're seeing here is a flavor of what the transition services will look like, especially the portal.
So if you as a broker and you can go on transition services, I can see you're going to be, say, you know, changing my LPAN to a TA message. I can see you could probably be using that portal for the workflow management aspect of it, but you're not going to have to be retyping all that data in or re-LPAN data in. That's all part of the transition services, but the workflow would be managed in that.
Yeah, so we have also for transition services for the London market, we will have a portal like this. So you can create your LPAN or your premium technical account in the portal. So that would be one way. We will also accept the regular LPANs that you're now uploading to the IMR. We will digitize them and they will be pre-populated here. We have technicians to do that. And of course, we will accept and we will prefer all brokers to use eBots directly to us. Yeah.
Tim's had his hand up for a while. So
I'm just going to add to the benefits really. So on the broker side, we've been speaking there. I think part of the benefit is that they'll be able to see the process. As we went through there, we saw the structured data, so they'll be able to see the data that's going to be needed for the London market going forwards. So it gives them early sight to that and helps them develop towards the London market. And for us on the carrier side, so you're saying not necessarily a benefit from a peer-to-peer perspective, but there are some potential items there that might persuade us to use the service on a peer-to-peer basis, such as the document exchange facilities. So at the moment, whatever the broker chooses to use, whether that's in-stream or DRI options, we as a carrier have to accept that. Whereas using a global service, having the Adept platform sitting behind that to do the translation, it means no matter what the broker sends in, we can choose to receive all documents as in-stream or all via DRI. So there are some other benefits there.
Okay, thanks. That's really helpful. And I definitely, Tim, to your point, I could definitely see the advantage for us. I just, at the moment, they can just pop the money in the bank. That's it. Right. And they bulk it and they don't bother with references and all those kind of things. So I definitely get the benefit for us seeing that sort of FA coming through. And a related question there, I guess, was the broker often doesn't quote the reference that we want. In that accepting, Paul, that you showed, you could sort of accept or reject. I think you refer back. Can we edit our reference if the broker's put 1, 2, 3 and it should be ABC without rejecting it?
Not at the moment. It's fixed with what they've put in.
Because I think that would be a great feature for us.
Yes.
We don't want to reject it and tell them to put ABC. We just rather a bit like Anyway, you get the point. That would be a tremendously helpful accelerator, I think, to accepting the message from the broker rather than rejecting it.
I'm glad I didn't try and second guess your question, because as you were saying it, I was thinking, but it's a mandatory field, you'll always get it. But then you came up with this 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we definitely want it. We just don't want theirs. They often put their own reference in our reference, which doesn't help us trying to match the bank statement to the risk record. So I can definitely see it. What's in it for us? I'd sign up today. Fantastic. But the trouble is, there's got to be somebody at the other end of the phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm sure that part will catch up. So just to go on the reference example provided. So within Rushlacon, that exact example does happen. Broker sometimes sends in things slightly wrong. We send back a different reference and they automatically capture that as part of the process. So I'm sure this service will catch up to what Rushlacon does here.
That would be great. Yeah. Have you spoken to the brokers at all, Anne? Are you or?
Yeah, absolutely. We're having conversations with brokers and carriers at the same time. We're busy doing demos and having a look at that, and we've got a lot of interest. Just working that through with individuals, really.
Thank you.
I think that we see we always see the two main benefits of this light product is, of course, in its own right, it has some benefits for the non-bureau business that you can put into the platform. But also, let's not forget that if your organization is connected live with this product, that means that you have already de-risked when the sequences 3, 4, and 5 come for the London market, because you're connecting to the same gateway. Back to your comment, David, you're using the same standards. You're already part of the new system. Albeit that sequence 3 and 4 have more complexity, Lloyd's and company market. However, you're already in the platform. So even as a tryout or a prototype for a small part of your book as an organization, it is almost like a testing before the big date.
Yeah. And a lot of the functionality is common, isn't it?
It's
so
common.
Things like, the messaging, the query piece, ability to upload documents, all of that is common. It's just like you say, adding another layer of complexity for the London market piece. So it gives you an early insight. If you do want to do a POC on global, it gives you an early insight as to what's coming. Get yourself prepared for it, and also an opportunity to feed back your experience as a user as well, into any future development that we're doing, straight into our Barrows team in terms of, some of the comments that we've had back today. By using it, you've got a really early opportunity to give that feedback.
Can I ask a quick question? Just sorry if you tell me if you need to push on with the agenda, but I was just interested if I compare that to the bureau world for a minute, and the bureau world, when the broker sends down the FA and the money comes through, we get a message and it goes into our system, whether it's right or wrong, we can't reject it. Whereas this seems to be an opportunity to reject it before it comes into our systems. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Yes, on this global platform, yes.
Yeah. Okay. But in the subsequent sequences for the bureau model, are we saying we'd have that opportunity to reject as well? Is that a feature that will get carried through?
No. Well,
No.
it's no, but with a caveat. So in the bureau world, in Lloyd's, Learmonth, ILU, as you know, we, the joint venture, we accept premiums on your behalf, the carriers. So we are the ones that do all these checks and validations with the joint venture. And if we do have queries, that sometimes the queries either can be to the broker or it can be a query to the carrier, we act as that agreement party well, that's one of our services. That's why you pay us per premium today. That is planned to stay as it is. So, however, you as a carrier, the good thing about the new platform is that you as a carrier will now have visibility on the premium, even if it has not been signed or processed yet by our team. That means that as soon as the broker submits an LPAN, and it's, let's say, work in progress or submission pending, you have visibility on it. Even though you don't have the power to agree it immediately, you can definitely say, oh, something is wrong here. So you could have let's say that you have a broker that, I don't know, in energy submits a lot of errors. You can have an operational model where you can see these things before they are signed by our technicians if you want to spot errors before. However, you won't have an agreement button because the bureau rules don't allow for that. It's only in the global side that the carrier is actually the agreement party for premiums. In claims, it stays as it is. The carrier is the agreement party.
I guess my question was really because, thanks for explaining that, is because what we just got demoed was the portal, which I think is, you're saying that's not the preferred platform that people engage with. We instead prefer that messages just flow between systems. So if we come out of the portal and we go into our system, how do we the carriers would have to build that reject button into our system somehow, would we, if we're not using the portal? Because how else do we reject it?
For global, it would be
Global,
part of the
yeah.
EVOT. So if you have an EVOT L4 query, you basically, so you have a message response that basically says, I don't agree with the TA. And then in fact, in the FA, you have an L4 reject. So you actually say this FA is completely wrong. So that is part of the EVOT standard.
I think no. Do you mean, David, if you've got a user interface in your back office?
We would need to build something
look?
to replace the portal. I guess that just as architecturally, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
So we need a message management system to reject stuff in the global world, but we don't need that in the bureau world because we don't have the opportunity to reject it.
Correct.
Yeah,
In fact,
okay, that's great. Yeah.
And Tim will be very familiar with this, but for the bureau world, the EVOT TAs for carriers are actually for information only. So you don't have to act on them. They are really for your system to reconcile and to be a system of record, but you cannot reject them in the bureau world.
Yeah, just to quickly add on that. So initially, when you first take this up and receive messages directly, then yes, you would probably have a module where you've got somebody looking at those details directly and agreeing them or querying them, etc. But over time, you'll start to develop your own business rules, and that will be automated processes because you'd already have captured the premium in your own system. So what you'll be doing is comparing the TA to data in your system, and the system itself will either agree it or realise there's some discrepancy and present it to a user to say, is this an issue our end or the broker's end? So there's a bit of a journey there. We're certainly getting into the no-touch processing at the moment.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions on that, or shall we move on? And of course, please do feel free to come in with any questions afterwards.
We're good.
Okay. You're